Traveling is one of life's greatest joys, but have you ever stopped to think about the environmental footprint of your beauty routine while you're on the move? Think about the tiny bottles of shampoo in hotels. Think about the mass-produced minis that we pack in our carry-ons. Think about the waste generated from all the water-based cosmetics that are thrown away at airport security. The footprint of travel beauty is staggering, and yet almost no one is talking about it. So in this episode, we're going to shine a spotlight on the invisible issue of travel beauty waste and the challenges facing hotels, brands, and travelers alike in creating more sustainable habits. My guest today is Andrea Endres, a seasoned expert in both the travel and beauty industries who spent years advocating for change. Andrea brings a wealth of knowledge on the topic, including innovative ideas for engaging travelers and hotels in more sustainable solutions. We're going to talk about the real cost of those free hotel amenities. We're going to talk about the role of wellness in travel. And we're going to talk about the ways that small brands can break into a market dominated by big players. So if you've ever wondered how to align your love of travel with your sustainability values, this is the episode for you. So let's get started. Welcome to Green Beauty Conversations, in which I challenge the beauty industry to become sustainable, champion independent and green beauty, and encourage you to join me in changing the industry for better. I'm your host, Lorraine Dallmeier. I'm a chartered environmentalist, biologist, and the CEO of award-winning online organic cosmetic formulation school, Botanica. We have tens of thousands of students in over 190 countries around the world who study with us to become organic beauty formulators and entrepreneurs. Visit our website at formulabotanica.com to try our free online formulation course. And if you want to be the first person to know what's happening in green beauty, make sure you subscribe to this podcast in your favorite podcast app. So in today's episode, I'm joined by Andrea Endres, the creator of the Swedish blog Holistisk Hudvård. Check out my Swedish. That means holistic skincare. And the creator of the Skin, Body, Spirit Summit, where she shares her passion for natural skincare and sustainable living. Using her platforms to showcase the knowledge of skin health and holistic living experts, Andrea inspires her audience to make mindful choices in beauty and wellness. She's currently also pursuing qualifications as a tourism and travel consultant and a wellness travel specialist. And while doing so, Andrea is preparing to launch Inside Wellness Travel. This upcoming venture will focus on organizing holistic retreats tailored for entrepreneurs in the skincare and health industries, fostering creativity, community, and well-being. Andrea's commitment to sustainability and innovation make her a sought-after voice in the natural beauty industry. And through her collaborations and workshops and future retreats, she empowers her audience to integrate holistic values into their personal and professional lives. Hi, Andrea. How are you doing?
Hi, Lorraine. I am great. It is so good to see you again.
It's really lovely to have you here. I'm so glad you're on the podcast. So we're going to be talking about travel, beauty, sustainability, all the things that you love talking about. But before we do that, could you maybe just give us a bit of background to you, who you are, and how you got into this very niche part of the beauty industry?
That is very true. Well, when I was 16, there was a lecture on what's in your food, what's in your skincare, and that really opened my eyes. So from that day on, basically, I started making my own products. I read ingredient lists and all of that. At the same time, I was 16, my mom started a travel business and she put me in front of a bus with 50 people and like, here you go, guide them through Sweden. And, so I've always had one leg in this passion of mine, health and natural skincare. And then the other leg always in the travel industry. So I also worked for other companies, obviously. And then the last few years for myself with online events and also VA stuff for, my God, just across everything, right? So
yeah. Yes. And you and I have known each other for a long time. You used to run online summits around health and sustainability and wellness and beauty as well. And I've spoken on quite a few of your summits. And we've known each other for a long time, right? So I'm thrilled that you're here. And what I really want to start asking you about is what happened when your mother put you on the bus. But I won't, because I think we need to talk about travel, beauty and sustainability, since that's the topic of the podcast today. But so let's start with that. Why is the sustainability of travel beauty such a big but largely invisible problem?
I think Because no one talks about it. It's like this invisible area where we don't have any numbers. No one shines a light on, what's happening, what's the waste, all of that. So yeah, we don't talk about it. When you're in a hotel, you have a little sign that says, reuse your towel. It will save X amount of water, but there are no numbers measured or communicated when it comes to hotel amenities.
It doesn't come up really. You're right. I haven't seen almost anyone talk about it. In fact, you're the only person I've really seen talk about this on a regular basis. So what exactly is the problem? Because, when we talk about travel beauty, what does that mean?
Travel beauty, what does it mean? Exactly. I think all use our products. And when we're on a trip, we just use a little bit. And it's free stuff. So it's like, oh, I got free stuff. We don't feel any responsibility. And so we waste it. There's just so much waste. And somewhere I read something, it says like 5.5 billion plastic bottles are thrown away only by the big hotel chains, like 300 chains alone. So it's a lot of waste, a lot of product waste, not just the plastic bottles, but also the product inside, really.
So we're talking about the beauty products that you get when you go to places like hotels and on airplanes and I suppose in other sort of travel resorts. But we're also talking about the products that people take with them when they travel as well. So let's start by focusing on the hotels. How do current hotel practices really contribute to that waste? You've talked about 5.5 billion plastic bottles. That's insane. And how does this ultimately compromise, I suppose, the wellness experience for travelers?
Exactly. So wellness, you think you want healthy stuff, right? You want to live, you're looking for well-being. You want to live well. You want to experience wellness. And then you come to your accommodation and what they have. Well, nowadays, luckily, there are more refillable, dispensers, which is great. But what's inside these refillable dispensers? Questionable ingredients. And as we said, a lot of products are wasted, like soaps, for example. When it comes to then the wellness experience of your trip, it's really, what is luxury? Is it using a mass-produced, low-quality product, from a well-known brand, maybe even? Or is it experiencing a locally crafted product, for example, or an all-natural product from regenerative ingredients that somehow also taps into creating a connection to the destination where you are, or even the local culture where you are, with the local plants and local wisdoms and whatnot. So I think luxury for me is about knowing the impact and the awareness of a product and its ingredients. It's not just, packaging or a brand and a nice font.
So that's one flip side of the coin, when you've got these hotels they're providing beauty products when you go to them. And yes, you're right. Many of them are discarded. I certainly find it in hotels sometimes when I unwrap the little hand soap, because I just need to wash my hands, that I'm like, where can I hide this so it won't be thrown away by tomorrow? Because I'm still here tomorrow and I still want to wash my hands then. There's so much waste. But then on the flip side, people also take beauty products with them, and they often buy those single-use products, mass-produced products. Why do so many travelers still rely on those when they're traveling, even though they might be using natural products at home or products that have been more sustainably created?
The mass-produced, single-use products, all of that, it's because they are offered. It's convenience. They're offered by the hotel, so you grab them. Of course, the liquid, restrictions at the airports and whatnot. Maybe it's also the lack of travel sizes in the natural cosmetics, or that they are not available where you're at, readily available natural cosmetics.
So obviously on one hand, you have these hotels that are obviously, they're providing these smaller amenities when you arrive there. And as you already alluded to at the beginning, they often use these bigger brands, mass-produced brands. You don't see those smaller brands in there. Why is it so difficult for natural brands, particularly smaller ones, to break into the hotel amenity market?
That is a good question, because it would be a lovely market for, these value-based small brands to break into. But I think it is that the large brands can easily adapt their marketing, right? They have the budget. They can also adapt their formulations to appear more natural. Now with the trend of being more natural, you redesign your packaging with a green leaf, or you put a tiny amount of aloe vera in it, and then you can somehow start marketing it as natural. And that, overshadows obviously the small brands that genuinely want to focus on natural and sustainable practices. So the big brands have the resources to produce products at a larger scale as well. And that also offering them at a cheaper price, because what hotels want to pay for these small amenities is, of course, the tiniest amount. They don't want to pay for it. So we cannot come in and compare on price.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
It must be really hard for a small brand to be able to cater for a huge hotel chain like that, because they'll be looking at, thousands of products, tens and if not hundreds of thousands of products that need to be provided in teeny tiny quantities. What solutions do you think are available then to hotels that do want to embrace locally made beauty products, smaller brands, sustainable brands? What options do they have?
The options that they have, I think, go to the low hanging fruit kind of, which is the small hotels, maybe the local hotels, or more of a natural eco hotel or a spa, boutique hotels. Like go to the ones that need small quantities. And also, I think a big point that a lot of small brands are missing maybe, and even hotels are missing out on, is overlooking the chance to enrich guest experience by communicating that we are using this product that has, these values behind their brand, and that brand makes an impact in this and that ways. So I think it's a missed opportunity here for sure.
That's exciting though, because you can imagine some of these hotel chains wanting to partner with some local companies as well. I suppose that's part of the overall experience. How could they turn the use of local natural beauty products into a guest experience or a learning opportunity, perhaps?
First of all, before anyone can try to turn this into something, they need to have the awareness, right? They need to see the point in why taking in a product that maybe costs more. So there's a huge gap of knowledge, I think, in the procurement process. What is considered the natural products? Most people don't know. Or, what certifications are there? Most people don't know. And so they don't know why they would use them. What are the added values of these products? So I think once a hotel knows this, or, the procurement or sustainability officer, whatnot, or even the marketing department for that matter, once they know this, they can then communicate it to the guests. So they are in a better light somehow. They can use it for their marketing, and they can start explaining to guests, this body lotion, if you use this body lotion that we offer, you will save X amount of microplastics running out into the waterways. Or we need to get the numbers somehow, because that puts everything in context. And I also think increasing the guest experience. So one, it's the storytelling. You have to communicate that there is more than the price point to the value of using a natural product. Another one is, just as some hotels provide cooking classes, for example, where they use, natural produce and they explore local flavors. Why not have a DIY skincare course, that teaches guests about local plants and, medical plants, health traditions, all of that, which creates a much more enriching and unique experience, or an excursion to a local farmer, and these kind of things.
Yeah, it's totally true. We went to Belize actually in 2023 over the summer, and we stayed in all these eco resorts, and we did exactly that. We were taking part in local cooking classes and learning about medicinal herbs. And if someone had said, "Hey, come learn how to make skincare," I don't know if I would have signed up straight away since I do enough of that here, but it would be a really cool thing. And I know lots of people would be really into that. So is that also where you see the travel sector going at the moment? What is trending in travel right now?
Trending is wellness travel, definitely. It is one of the fastest growing parts in travel is wellness travel, because especially younger generations, but everyone else want to live healthy, and we want to continue live healthy or have our healthy habits, even when we are on holiday, or we want to kickstart our wellness, journey. We want to use our holiday to take care of ourselves. That's definitely where it's going. Really, there's a massive boom in wellness travel. Also, the trend, again, especially the younger generations, they want to spend money not on stuff and things. They want to have experiences, authentic, immersive, and responsible experiences, right? Hotels here, or the travel industry, really, they have a chance to be proactive or reactive. Like, do you want to wait until you have to change because everyone is asking for it? Or can you be a trailblazer by offering these, eco-conscious, cruelty-free products, and be transparent and, make a stand for social responsibility? Because let's say if you use a natural brand and they source their shea butter from a women's cooperative, that has a massive social impact. It's not just that it's comes from a natural plant that you can regrow. So
I think that would excite a lot of people. Absolutely. And I think there's a massive opportunity here, because if you bring those two things together, this need for hotels and resorts to start to think about sustainability in terms of the beauty products and amenities they provide, and this growth in wellness travel, which sounds exciting and wonderful, you can see how those two things are a match made in heaven. So let's talk about the brands a little bit, because there are two sides really to travel. There's to beauty travel. There's the beauty products that you receive when you arrive there, but there's also the beauty products that you take with you. What are brands doing in terms of travel beauty? What are you seeing out there at the moment?
I think it's, travel minis, obviously, or even, they double as testers, because it's also, you don't want to buy a big bottle of a product and then discover that it's not working for you. So I think that way also travel minis are a great way for natural products to have people test their products. Also, obviously, solids, right? Solid products, solid serum, body lotion, shampoo, all of that. So that's definitely what I see, natural brands doing. Some commercial brands probably do this as well. But then also there has been a switch within the hotel industry where they have the refillable dispensers. So that is good. But again, what's inside? I also think we know how it is in Europe and like the Western countries and everything. But if you go to developing countries, they don't always have the capacity for water treatment as well as we have. There's a lot of stuff just simply going out into nature, which I find, again, it's another big incentive to start using natural products that are biodegradable. Even our water treatment plants have problems to filter out, synthetic perfumes, preservatives, microplastics, and what I always call liquid plastics, all the silicones in hair products and body lotions. So there is a big lack of knowledge. And I think if small brands even take it on them to educate hotels or local restaurants, they use soap and stuff, right? Then maybe more people can have their eyes open.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Ultimately, when you go on holiday, I see it all the time when I go into the pharmacies here as well. There's like a travel wall, and there are all these buckets filled with these tiny little products. And then I'm stood there and I'm like, well, I shouldn't have to take this, because the place I'm going to stay at should have shampoo. It should have body wash, but you're never quite sure if they have conditioner. And as a woman with long hair, I need conditioner. Otherwise I can't get my hairbrush through my hair. And it drives me mad when I turn up at places and they don't have those things. So inevitably you're like, well, I should probably just buy some and take it with me just in case, because I don't want to take, a 300 ml or a 500 ml bottle of conditioner. Sometimes I end up having to buy it on holiday and then carry it around with me everywhere as well, which I totally understand is what I should be doing, but it's also frustrating to have to take all that extra weight. So I understand why brands have minis, but how do they fit from an ethical perspective? Do you think they should continue making them? Because ultimately there's a lot of plastic involved in all those minis.
Exactly, because it's not so easy to travel with glass bottles, right? And jars and whatnot. I mean, we can, it's possible. Put them in your socks, maybe. Like roll them up with socks.
I love it.
But it is a challenge. And again, I don't know. I've thought about this, because if we want to get natural products to be mainstream, how do we enter mainstream? Somehow, is it with small travel products? I mean, like you're saying, you're standing in front of this wall of just
all the minis.
Oh my God, yeah. From all the brands, right? It's just full. But how many natural brands are there?
Oh, never any. There's
no,
none.
Exactly. So
it's a tough one, because you have to balance convenience with sustainability. And I can understand that brands see this as a massive untapped opportunity, but at the same time, there has to be consideration to all the plastic waste, all the packaging waste, all the overconsumption that comes with it. Because if you don't use it up on holiday, do you bring it home as well? Some people might be like, well, I don't want that to contribute to my overall weight of my bag on the plane. I'm not paying for an extra kilo of conditioner or whatever it is that you have with you. So it's not an easy discussion to have, but I think it's good that we're having this discussion, because
I think so too. And then it's also, you can always, have your own little minis and fill your home products into them and bring it along.
To be fair, I sometimes do that as well. And then I'm like, oh, child of mine, you have a stain on your jumper. Let me bring out my washing liquid here in my refillable bottle. You just have to think on your feet a little bit. But most people don't go to that level of effort, because it is effort.
It is effort. It is already stressful. Like you're saying, you're packing up with the family. It's, there's a lot of timing involved and everything. And maybe the last thing you want to think about is filling your SPF into a small bottle, because also it maybe doesn't last. I don't know. A lot of people just travel with hand luggage. It's not always you can check in luggage and have these big bottles or bring the big bottles home with you. So it's balance.
It's a discussion we need to be having, that's for sure. You talked about solids earlier. What role do you think solid formulations can play in beauty and travel?
I think if they work, if people feel like, oh, this works on my hair and this works on my body, then I think that would be the easiest. That would be so easy to just bring those along. Then there are also challenges, how do they dry? You don't want to have like a big pile of mush in your beauty bag, or you go to a tropical holiday spot and it's super hot and then your body lotion melts away. Yes. And so you have it, again, it is a tough one. Yeah. But, I think it's like a second life for the products when you cannot bring them back home, or you have to leave them at the airport or whatnot. What are the airport, the hotels, whatever, what are they doing to give these products a second life?
Yeah.
Or to somehow recycle them, like having a circular
like a donation.
Yeah, donation or a circular, reuse them, repurpose something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were traveling around Scandinavia at the end of last year, and my eldest son, he's 14, and he just totally forgot about the 100 ml liquid rule. And he had his toiletry bag in his backpack, and he had his shampoo, which was 200 mils or something. And so that got confiscated, and it was pretty much brand new. And you look at that and you're like, is that just going straight into the trash? Or is it going to be put to good use? Now, I'm pretty sure it will just go straight into the trash. And you're right. There could be a circular component to that, which would be wonderful. Similarly, like I said earlier, when you're staying in a hotel and they take your soap after you've used it for one day. You're like, no, I needed that for the second day as well. I'm sure soaps as well. We could presumably do quite a lot with those, couldn't we? Do you have any insights into what's happening at airports in terms of beauty waste?
Yes, so we all know sometimes we have to leave a bottle or we forgot about it. Like you just mentioned, this 200 milliliter shampoo bottle, and then it's left at the security gate. And somewhere I read only in the UK, only during summer season of 2022. So this was during COVID. And now we're at much higher tourism capacities, right? So anyways, there were 270 million pounds worth of toiletries and makeup products that were abandoned at the security gates in UK airports only.
Wow. And that's pounds in terms of British monetary pounds, not pounds in terms of weight. That's insane. Exactly. Just in UK airports. Imagine, the UK is tiny compared to, like, for instance, the US. We have many listeners there. Think of how many airports there will be there. Think about how many beauty products will be abandoned there. That's crazy. And no one is really talking about this.
Exactly. It's massive numbers and they are not communicated. They are not, there's no sign, please be mindful about the products you bring or whatever. But there are signs that say, please turn off the water. We're not communicating it.
Oh my goodness. So the scale of the problem is much, much bigger than anything we probably could ever even have imagined. On one hand, you've got the airports, you've got the hotels, you've got the products that people are taking with them, and no one is really addressing this. So what could we do in terms of travel beauty, in terms of how do we make this sector sustainable? How do we even bring a tiny amount of sustainability ethos to this sector?
Exactly. We always have the guests and then we have the industry, right? We have the private, the client and the business. And I think for us as travelers, it's being mindful. We have to already think about all different kind of things, right? It feels like all the responsibility is always put on the end consumer when the producers are the ones that maybe also could take responsibility. But using less, that's the first step, and using up what you have started until it's finished. And then for the hotels, it's don't just assume your guests need something, ask them. Ask them at check-in or have don't provide amenities in the rooms. Have a little, card there, a little sign saying, if you need amenities, we have this and this and that. They are from a natural brand. It doesn't even have to. Oh my God. It would be the dream, right? But, we have this and this and that. So please let the reception know if you need it. That would be taking some responsibility because like you're saying, the consumption is the huge problem here, I think.
It is. Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. We should all start to think about what we're actually using and use up what we have. And I suppose the industry needs to start thinking that perhaps luxury isn't giving away lots and lots of products. I flew to the States at the end of last year. And I was in first class and they were just literally throwing products at me. And when you're there, you're like, oh, free product. You also have to start to think, I don't want this. I don't need it. And to be fair, on the return journey, I was like, please don't give me all the same stuff again. I've already got the mountain that you gave me when I arrived here. It's both parties. You're right. It's about the traveler and about the industry. We have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Andrea, thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. If people want to learn more about you, where can they do that?
I think the easiest way is LinkedIn or my Instagram, Wellness Travel Specialist, or even my Linktree, which is andreaendres.me, the Linktree thingy. So those are the easiest, I think, to get in touch with me somehow.
We will include all of those in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure having you here and lovely to hang out with you again.
Thank you, Lorraine. You too. Thanks for this opportunity. Really, we need to talk about this.
We do. And I'm so glad that we just did. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. How can the tourism industry further address the impacts of their beauty products? Have you seen any hotels or any brands getting this right? Leave us a comment on our social channels, as both the Formula Botanica team and I love hearing from you. And if you want to hear more about some of the topics we talked about today, please do delve back into the podcast archives. So a couple of great options for you are episode 203, in which I interviewed Joel Tasher of Clean Hub on the problem of plastics in the beauty industry, or episode 111, in which I interviewed Mia Davis, formerly of Credo Beauty, on the sustainability of beauty samples, which isn't dissimilar to the issue that we see with travel minis. There's a wealth of information in our old episodes, and I do encourage you to go back and listen to them. Thank you for joining Andrea and I for this latest episode of Green Beauty Conversations. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave us a 5-star review so that other people can enjoy these conversations too. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever your favorite podcast app is, and stay tuned for the next episode. Follow Formula Botanica at Formula Botanica on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, we're everywhere. And come and give me a follow at Lorraine Dallmeier on Instagram and LinkedIn. Visit our website at formulabotanica.com and sign up for our free online formulation course today.